A large working city operating deep underground as we go about our lives on the surface above. It's real, and it's right here in the United States.
Subtropolis. Decades ago, limestone was mined here for concrete and asphalt. What's left is space. A lot of space.
Okay, so what's down here right now? We have 6 million square feet of buildings leased to 55 companies. There's 1,700 employees that run around here and go to work every day.
It's a massive industrial park, all underground.
Do you ever worry, like the world could come to an end upstairs, and you guys would just be down here toiling away, right? I feel like Fort Knox there.
Security is a big selling point. Subtropolis is basically disaster-proof. Another selling point, Subtropolis is always 65 degrees. Always. What better place, then, to put a room full of computer servers? There's a lot of cool stuff in Subtropolis, especially in a company called Underground Vaults and Storage.
What are you going to show us? We're going to show you Hollywood, right behind these doors.
Inside, aisle upon aisle of TV and movie treasures, sent here by the studios for safekeeping. From the National Archives to food distributor Harris Brothers, the occupants of Subtropolis praise the predictability of doing business in a place where the sun never shines nor sets.
You know.
But you can go from the East Coast to the West Coast underground.
Underground, completely underground.
Without having to
come up. And there's turnoffs. You need security clearances to get through these turnoffs. They go into other bases. They go into other areas and, secret places you can't go.
And what do they do there?
They do a lot of things. I can tell you one thing. They have 2 sets of elevators. And my security clearance got me down to the main hub, which is as big as Manhattan. I mean, it's as big as Manhattan. It's unbelievable. They have acres of farmland with lights and
farmland underground.
Underground. They run the lights off nuclear.
Underground.
Yeah, they have nuclear power plant underground, and they use that for everything. All the power under there.
They grow food.
Yeah, they grow food. They have livestock. I mean, everything. Yeah, they have everything. They have bench shafts. They have everything. But the 2 sets of elevators I was telling you about, my clearance, I can only go down to the main hub. Then there was another set of elevators that brought you down further. And a bunch of friends of mine would tell me stories about that.
Can you tell us anything about those stories?
This one now, yeah.
He's like, I'm at the West Hall. We are literally driving to the Central Hall right now in the Tesla tunnel. We literally just got in. I saw your photos and I go to laugh because you say, I just got here. We're leaving.
We lived here 5 years and I've never been down here.
Well, this has only been open since January of 2021.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I'm like, how did I miss that? I know that's my seat.
Like all the custom builders. Hi, at least you're
What's the purpose for this besides what we're doing right now? So technically, we're just a transportation service for the convention center. Okay. Eventually, we will be a transportation service for the city to an extent. Because after SEMA last year, we did get approved for 30 more miles of tunnels to be put in. Resort World was our first expansion onto that. I do believe Encore is going to be our next. But eventually, when it's all said and done, we'll be going up and down the Strip, down the Fremont Street.
This tunnel?
Well, not this one specifically,
okay.
but like more expansion.
Okay.
A few other off-strip locations, Allegiant Stadium, and even up to the airport.
Wow, that's dope.
This reminds me
of Universal Studios.
I wonder why. A little bit. Are they going to turn it into a train versus cars?
So cool.
No, not that I know of. I do believe it will always be Teslas down here. The one you may be
Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Call Halal, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. That's giving all praise to the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to our teachers, the elders, and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us His truth and sincerity, peace and salutations to the who for scattered abroad. Shalom, 244,000. Real quick, I want to go into this clip. This is from a show called Paradise. First and foremost, I want to say fair use. Fair use. Okay, I'm not making any monetary gain off of this. And I'll have to put in a post-production, you know, the whole thing or whatever, the fair use thing. But, you know, and this show is going to show you some things, you know, some points I wanted to make very quick. All right, I'm on my lunch break. But this is a very, very spiritual show if you have the eyes to see. You know, it's not just entertainment. And I mention this show often. And it just happened to be in my mind today. So I figured I'll go back and play this episode or this clip from the first episode. Now, spoiler alerts. There will be some spoilers. Basically, the show is basically about, you know, the U.S. government going into a bunker in the time of chaos. Okay, they went into this bunker, but they didn't tell you they were in a bunker until the end of the show. I mean, until the end of the first episode. All right, but I just had to do that spoiler alert. So, like I said, go watch the show. That's the main part of the show, but go watch it. But the point I wanted to make in this video is how they're it's basically about how they're living in this bunker. Okay, how they are living in this bunker, and it's going to show you that Esau's plans is to bring in the MOTB system, and ultimately they know that impending doom is coming, so they're going to, you know, seek to go in hiding. All right, so let's just play this real quick, and we'll go on from there.
She calls out to the man.
Fair use, fair use.
Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I've nowhere to sleep. Is there some way you can tell me?
Now, the woman who, you know, she's like a rich individual. She was the one that funded the making of this bunker, and she said she wanted to look like Anytime America. Okay, Anytime America. And as you see, it looks, you know, like, it doesn't look like a bunker that you would think about in a movie or something, you know, and they actually have bunkers like this. There's a video I might put in a post-production of a guy who exposed the whole underground system under America, how you can go from literally one side of the country to the other side of the country. And I got another clip, some clips from another video from a guy who was like in the military. You know, he was a high level ranking in the military. He didn't show his face, but he still had on his military, you know, clothing or whatever. And he was explaining how they have a hyperspeed train that can take them from one side of the country to the other side of the country in minutes. You know, so they have a whole underground system under the earth. Okay, under, you know, the basically what we see above ground, that's how it looks underground. Okay, that's why you got these underground tunnels, and they'll be shipping all these, you know, trucks in there. You know, and a year or so ago, a few years ago, I did a video about a bunker. It was a government bunker, okay, for the government. And in that bunker, they had a bunch of food stored up, and none of the food had GMOs. Okay, so these devils, they know that something is coming, and they expect on running and hiding in these bunkers. Okay, let's play some more. So just want to say that real quick. Now you see this, okay? Now Esau, he gonna give it to you in gradualism, you know, and this is the same thing with these Teslas and these electric vehicles, where you have to, you know, scan like a key fob to open the car. In this show in particular, it's a wristband. Okay, it's a wristband. Well, we know what that all leads up to. There's RFID technology in those wristbands. All right, and really they want to put it inside your hand, but for the show's sake, they didn't. You know, they have wristbands. What's that? They're paying with it. You see that?
Seems embarrassed to be there.
Those are fake ducks. You know, they didn't have any real animals down there. They said they wasn't allowed to bring their pets. So those are fake ducks, okay? This is, you know, what Esau, you know, has already in the works, you know. You got these billionaires, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they're creating bunkers, you know. They're getting ready to go into hiding. Okay, it might be why Klaus Schwab just recently resigned. You know, which he was famous for going into the Great Reset. You know, he was the first one to really go into that. Okay, so as you see, these are fake ducks. Okay, so it's like a whole false reality going on in this underground bunker. But the main thing I wanted to show you was that they was having people take that they had to have that wristband to buy and sell. Okay, which is going to be that MOTB system. And so they want to put the chip implantable inside your body.
'Cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice. 'Cause it's another day for you and me in paradise.
Back there, dawn delayed by 2 hours. Look at that, dawn delayed by 2 hours.
Not divulge specifics, but what we can tell you is that we are preparing for a massive catastrophe that could cause an extinction level event for humanity in the very near, very real future. In preparation, we have begun construction underneath a mountain in Colorado. When completed,
that's supposed to be the president.
It may be our only chance. The world's largest underground city.
That's the show. It's called Paradise. Okay, like I said, go watch the show. It's very interesting. You know, it has a lot of good points, you know, from the show concerning what this devil wants to do. You know, there's another scene I want to play real quick. It's this right here. This is all on the ground. See, Esau is going to return back to the caves, you know, where they came from. But you see right here, okay, look at this scene. Look what's on the doors. They're showing those bracelets, okay, which is the MOTB system. But except they want to put it inside your body.
It didn't work at the grocery store again.
Look at this. Temperature controls, sun track, sky control. So this is, you know, all in the bunker. All right. They want to, you know, in this devil, they want total control. They want to be God. Okay. But in the last clip, they found out that, you know, it was going to be in a extinction level event. And it's heavy because in the show, you know, they showed bombs dropping, but they showed tsunamis. They showed all kind of stuff that was popping off or whatever. And, you know, it's just very interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with this video because of the music and, you know, I'm playing this video. But like I said, fair use, fair use. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this. And Lord willing, it does go up and stay up. But in the meantime, let's grab a few precepts. Let's finish this up. And the music itself, it sets the tone. Which shows you that all these things are spiritual. Because Esau is like his medicine, his medicine commercials. You have somebody smiling and throwing the baby up in the air, and they playing at the park, playing frisbee. It's all shiny and bright, and then in the end, and they're promoting this, some a pharmacia, and then in the end, they'll have all the side effects go by real quick of all the bad things that it do to you. So when you're taking that Medicaid, it's not really like that, But that's how they portray these things to you, and that's how they, going to portray this MOTB to you. That's how they're going to portray, these smart cities to you and such. Okay. Another thing about this show is that they didn't have any meat down there. All right, so they was eating like plant-based and different bug-based foods. It's a lot of different stuff that you see. That if you have the eyes to see and ears to hear, and what's going on, then it's gonna ring out. But let's grab a few precepts though. Okay. This is Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 33. It says, "When this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then they shall know that a prophet have been among them." And you people out here that play stupid and act like you don't know who the men of the Lord are, you gonna know who the true prophets are in the time we coming into. Okay, it's all gonna make sense. In the last minutes of America. Okay. That's when it's all going to come together. And people are going to find out that the Lord is not, he's not to be played with. Okay, you're going to find out that Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI and everything that's written in this book is true. Okay, let's go over here. Oh, let me grab this real quick. Jumping right into it. Okay, we always bring this out, but it's important because the time we're coming into right now with the, this economy and everything that's going on with these tariffs and stuff, and they're getting ready to bring in a new world order, beast system. All right, and you got to say no to that, which it might be to a point where you might, have to catch some hell behind it. But the Lord is going to be with us. Okay, it says, Revelation chapter 13. It says, verse 15. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." And you can imagine if you didn't want to take that or use that wristband, which in real life is going to be an implant inside your body, then you're not going to be able to eat. You're not going to be able to buy and sell. That's going to be the new form. So like the new form of payment. Okay, and the only form of payment. It says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond." That's why you seen, from the people inside the grocery store to the little girl buying her ice cream. Everybody's going to have to take this MOTB in order to, participate in these societies and in society. Like I said before, they showed you that in the show. It's another show out with the guy that played on the Jake that plays the new Captain America. I forgot exactly what the show was called, but it shows how, majority of America is a complete shambles in a wasteland. Okay. But then they have certain cities that are like still up and running. Okay, that's what they want to do with these smart cities, like what's going on right now in New Jersey. With those fires. This is what this devil does. He starts these fires. He's bringing in these disasters to destroy these lands so he can build up smart cities. And when they do this, they're going to shut everybody else out. And in order to be able to come into those smart cities or participate in those smart cities where it's going to seem like life is still functioning as normal, you're going to have to take this MOTB. It says to receive a MARK in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the MARK or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to buy or sell without this technology. Okay, it says, "Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding." "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So 666. And when you go into the barcode, that's when everything that you buy, it has long lines in the beginning, long lines in the middle, long lines at the end, but it has no numbers underneath those lines. Those lines stand for 666. Okay, This is this man's beast system. Okay, this is what this is the spawns of Satan in power. So everything is satanic. Okay, once you really dig deeper into it, and this is why they trying to fight and hide from the Lord. Okay, let's go right here too, because you got to know not to take this MOTB when the time comes. Okay, we're gonna have to reject this, which most people are just going to they're going to submit, they're going to comply. It says Revelation chapter 3 verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the world. It's like come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So it's going to come a time of temptation. Okay, another heavy thing about the show was that they showed you the pandemonium in the White House when it was found out that impending doom was coming. People were trying to take out the president. People were trying to get on the Air Force One plane, or helicopter to go to the bunker. People. The president told people he couldn't take in the White House that he was cool with. Told him he couldn't take them with them, and they felt betrayed. You had people threatening each other with guns and shooting people. Shootouts that broke out. It's complete chaos when people realized that they was being left there to die. And that's what this administration is going to do if Lord willing, this be the administration that the end comes through, which I believe so. Trump is definitely doing his thing, but they're going to leave you people out there. They're not going to come and help you out or allow you to come in the bunkers as well. No, they and it shows you too in the show, and I hate to give so much of it away, but like I said, go watch it. But they showed you too how originally he was going to give a statement to the people. It was going to be a written statement telling them everything is going to be okay. But he somehow grew a backbone and said, no, I don't want to do that. I got to tell them the truth. They need time to say goodbye. Okay, because he was talking to a black janitor, and the janitor been there, like a couple administrations before him. But he was there working, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to, say goodbye to his family. So he felt bad, so he pretty much told everybody, like, yeah, this is going to happen, go say goodbye, so the point of it all is that the fact that this show just came out and this is the spirit that's, in the earth right now, lets you know what time that we're in. Scripture says, measure out the times diligently in itself. This is the time that we're in. It says, behold, I come fast. Lucky, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. And you got to remain firm for YAHAWASHI. Don't let this man take your crown. Because the whole goal of Esau, when all hell breaks loose and this thing does come down the pike, is he wants you to denounce your faith in YAHAWASHI. That's why they're going to persecute the men of the Lord as well. Okay, we're talking about 2 years in prison for preaching the Bible. Okay, or handing out Bibles, or going into Bible scriptures. My damn demon had a dream not too long ago. She told me about it. Just a couple of days ago, she told me about she had a dream that it was like I was on the run. I was hiding out and I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't be seen. And whenever we did leave the house, I was like hiding in the car. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. I've had a warrant off my arrest before. I know what that shit's like. I had a warrant off my arrest one time when I was in high school. And I had to hide in the woods, and one of my friends, they had like a little camper. I was hiding in the camper for weeks, because I didn't want to go to jail, obviously, So there's gonna come a time where we're gonna be like pilgrims on the earth, man. We're not gonna be able to just stay in our homes. We're gonna have to go into hiding, because the devil, he's gonna persecute us. Okay, just a little, that's something I remember from when I was younger. Jake, was like, was doing stupid shit and then called a case, and I had a warrant off my arrest, and I remember, having to hide, when I was when I would leave places with my friends or whatever, and I had to, duck down and make sure that I wasn't somewhere where the cops would be or they'll identify me or something, So that time is coming again. Okay, well, not again, but that time is coming as a whole for the elect. Okay, and it's gonna be on a whole nother level. Okay, on a whole nother level. But from there, let's go over here and blue letter again with this. Maybe I need to update it. Nope. Let's see, update. I hate how they got it now where you can't turn it sideways, but bear with me. It says, but let's go to Revelation chapter 6, verse, I'll start at verse 13. I mean, all this is good. Just to get to the point, though, I'll just go start at verse 13. It says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So you got to imagine the prophets, they were seeing these missiles rain upon this place. And it looked like, you know, if a strong wind came through a fig tree and all the figs fell off, or any kind of fruit tree. If you have a fruit tree and a strong wind comes, you know, certain of those fruits will fall down, and they'll fall in an archaic fashion wherever the wind is blowing. But also, or acorns, or whatever, you know. But also, you know, when they hit the ground, you can, you know, if you're near an apple or orange tree, when they hit the ground, you can feel the thuds. You know, that's how it's gonna be with these nukes. Okay. It says, and the heaven departed. It says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is scrolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So when these nukes hit, it's going to make the earth shake. Scripture says the earth shall roll to and fro like a drunkard. Okay, it says, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains. So you had that military general. He was saying, you know, he was telling them they're going to go into a bunker. In the beginning of that clip I showed you, it says, and the mighty men and every bondman and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And I believe there was a video that El Pastor Hart went into a couple of years ago about Mount Carmel or something like that, where they were, you know, it's known that they were creating a bunker in there. And I believe that's where this show was supposedly, you know, that bunker was supposedly at in that show. It was in a mountain, okay? Not Mount Carmel. It's another Mount Cheyenne or something like that. It started with a C. Okay, but that show, it shows you like that bunker. And that's like a known common bunker where the military is going to go, or the government is going to go in that time to come. There was also, you know, an article that came out, or information that came out a few weeks ago, you know, when tensions was rising with, you know, this whole, you know, war all over the world and stuff. Because war is all over the world right now. But this guy Trump's planes, his Air Force planes, they were hovering over the bunkers that they have here in America. So you know, Trump's probably gonna be done. Okay, because if you hide in a bunker in America, you through. Okay, but it says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So they're going to be going in there try to hide from judgment from YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, and you can't hide. It says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? You see? So they know that the great day of the Lord's wrath is coming. That's why they're creating these bunkers. That's why they're making these bunkers, because they know that when that day comes, they're going to try to go into hiding. Okay, in the NLT it says, verse 14, the sky was rolled up like a scroll, and all the land is moved from their places. Then everyone, the kings of the earth, the rulers, the generals, the wealthy, the powerful, and every slave and free person, you know, and in that show they had the wealthy and the powerful. You know, it was the rich that was a rich lady. She pretty much made the bunker, you know, so she was in control. She called all the shots, you know. When the so-called president died, she set up the new president, and he said, I think, and she said, we didn't pick you to think, we just picked you to read from this you know, this script. Basically it says they all hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. So this is talking about those bunkers. It says, and they cried to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one who sits on the throne and from the Lamb and from the wrath of the Lamb, for that the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to survive? And that's going to be people's mindset. they just want to survive. You know, these people are going to do anything they can to try to survive. So if going in a bunker and trying to, you know, escape the blast and the destruction, you know, is in their power, that's what they're going to do. That's why you got all the rich. You got this guy Rick Ross. He said that he got a bunker out here in Tampa. You know, he said something like that in one of his songs or something, which I don't know how true that is, you know, concerning, you know, Florida, but who knows, you know. But the point is, these individuals, they're actually doing this. They're actually, you know, creating these bunkers. They're actually in the mind state of, you know, hiding, you know, fleeing, and you know, afraid. They're afraid, you know. So that's just something I want to touch on real quick. That show, you know, it showed that very well, you know, and other things too, you know, of the times that we're in. But this is how you know that, you know, we definitely in that time, man. You know, these things are going to start taking place, and things are going to start moving quick. You know, it's going to start moving quick. So, hey, stay prayed up, pay attention. You know, stay circumspect. The time is closer than we believe. Shalom, Kwame Sharala, blah, blah, blah.